Hello, my name is Andreas Christiansen, or Harlequin on Moto, or Harlequin on the MGC Discord. I'm here to talk about and play this deck called Mono Green Control. It is quite a unique deck in Modern. There's not really anything else like it, and it mixes some different types of stuff. It has a ramp element. It has lots of mana dogs and mana ramp in all these mana dogs here. Lenovo Visionary and Mongolia Acid Moss. And it also has a bunch of control elements in the form of mana denial through Trinisphere, land destruction with Acid Moss and Primal Command, and Khan, the Great Creator, to fetch things from the sideboard that are useful. Another thing that is very important about this deck is the interaction between Eternal Witness and Primal Command. Eternal Witness, most people know, you can return something from your graveyard to your hand. Primal Command, you might not know this card, but this is a linchpin of the deck. It has 4 modes. It's like Crypto Command. Either you say target player gains 7 life, that's always useful. Put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library. Target player shuffles their graveyard into the library, and search your library for a creature card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. The usual mode that is once casted is you put a land on top of the opponent's deck, and then you search your deck for an Eternal Witness, which means that if they don't have a board and they have an empty hand, they've been time walked because you put a card on top that they're gonna draw, they're gonna play it, and you've gained 1 card. So you can do this the amount of times you have Ewits, and then you can, and then usually you're in a position to win from there on. And you can also, Primal Command is in general is just an extremely useful card. Good against aggro, gain life, shuffle graveyard in, has lots of utility, like a lot of utility, but it's very situational. And non-creature permanent can also just be a planeswalker. And you can also just search a library for other cards that are useful if you need a different thing. The toolbox that we kind of have in the main deck is we have, of course, Eternal Witness. Then we have Nissa Vasputia, which is a creature that can become a planeswalker if you have 7 or more lands in play, which is really good against control. So you can play it, put a land into play, get a planeswalker, and it can't be countered with Force of Negation and stuff like that. And then you also have Kokla, which is another way to loop Ewid. On ETB, it kills a creature, which is really good. When it attacks, it destroys an artifact or enchantment, which is also usually pretty good. And you can pay 2 mana and then return a human you control to its hand and give it indestructible. Eternal Witness is a human, which means that you now, for 10 mana, have an infinite loop with Primal Command, Ewid, and Kokla in play. This is like the end game of the play. You also have Hornet Queen, which is just a really good card in a lot of situations, great against like humans or other mid-range decks or aggro decks that have lots of creatures. It's great to block with. It can also just be aggressive. Another typical line of play is you have an Ensnaring Bridge in play. You draw a card, hit with bees, play a card that no one can attack. And then you of course have Walking Ballista, because this card is extremely overpowered. And you can you shoot down Snapcaster, a planeswalker with a bit of health left. You can also use this as a finisher. Lots of great utility from that card. Then we have the lands. We have a Blast Zone, because that is a way to destroy things that we can't otherwise interact with. It can destroy creatures, and can destroy Pithing Needle on Khan. It can destroy a bunch of things. We have Crawling Barrens, because it's always nice to have 1-man land to kill planeswalkers or get in for damage against control. Then we have Turntimber Symbiosis, which is basically a free roll in this deck. It can always be a land that's untapped, or it can just be a spell that can give you gas. For example, if you cast this and then you can hit something like Ewid to gain something back, or you can hit Kokla or Hornet Queen. Ballista works too, because if it's CMC is 3 or less, the Inters with counters on it, so it doesn't actually die. Then we have the Khan aspect of the deck. Oh, I should also talk about Trinisphere. Trinisphere is also a rules lawyer card. It makes it so that all spells cost a minimum of 3 mana to cast, which Usually the strategy behind this is you play a mana dog on turn 1. Turn 2 you play Trinisphere. That means they can't cast anything on their turn 2, and then on your turn 3 you use Monomule Acid Moss to destroy a land, means they still can't cast anything on their turn, and you're now up like 6 mana. Which is usually enough to just outright win on the spot. In the sideboard, we have a bunch of stuff that is useful with Khan, because Khan can fetch things from the sideboard. We use that toolbox a lot. Important cards are things like Ensnaring Bridge against creature decks. It just makes sure it doesn't die. And we have Metal Coating, which is the primary interaction with Khan. It makes something into an artifact, which means it can't be activated, which can be used on creatures and planeswalkers or lands. And if you use it on land on your turn and then uptick Khan, you can just strip mine the land, which is extremely powerful in keeping your opponent down. Then we have a bunch of utility things. We have another Walking Ballista to ping things off, a Worm kind of engine to try and stabilize against certain creature decks. We have Conjurer's Closet as another Kogla, because I can blink Ewit or other things, or Visionaries to draw cards, or Horny Queens. Usually only best against stuff like Control. Then we have Damping Sphere against Tron or Combo or Storm or something like that. Then we have Piffing Needle, in general great utility card. We have Hex Parasite, which is good against Planeswalkers and other things. It's just a really good, really interesting card, really fun to use. We have Grafdigger's Cage and Tormod's Crypts against graveyard decks. Tormod Crypts can be activated immediately the turn you play Khan, even if you don't have other mana, and Grafdigger's Cage is great against stuff like Dredge. Then we have the non-artifact things in sideboard. We have Kitchen Things and Obstinate Bailoff to play against other creature decks or burn or anything that pressures a life total. We bring those in, cut a couple Acid Moss or Trinispheres usually. Then we have Scavenging Ooze, general purpose card against graveyards. Not much to be said. Of course, Veil of Summer, you could be running more if you want to. This card is great, absolutely amazing against Control. It usually wins you the game against Control, because you just hold it up, and you make sure that either your Khan or your Primal Command or something in that vein resolves, which will allow you to snowball the game from there. Then there's also some different variations of this deck. You can splash pretty much any color you want. You can splash black, usually for stuff like Plague Engineer and Fatal Push and other removal options. You have blue, because you can then use the blink effect of something like Thassa, or you can use Agent of Treachery or Annex, or blue. We know Simic is busted, so you can use a bunch of Simic things that are really good if you want to. You can use white, because white has a bunch of things you can use this deck. Skyclave Aberration is a new one that's really good. Ruined Halo, pretty much Path to Exile, of course, anything like that. White is great for. Red, you can use Blood Moon effects in red, which is really good, because that's just another way of, basically another Trinisphere. It's another mana denial source. And you can use Magus of the Moon, because Magus of the Moon can be tutored with Primal Command, which is another interaction. In those versions, you don't play this card. In this version, you play Ancient Stirrings, which allows you to dig either for a land or a utility land, or it allows us to dig for Khan, Creator, or Trinisphere, which is you just need it in this version. If you play a splash color, you usually want more actual cards, but in this version, we really need to dig for Khan, because Khan is so good in this version. This deck was created about, how long is that? 2 years ago, maybe? 2.5 years ago, I think, by a guy called Michael Nielsen, or Deo on the MTC Discord, which I will link in the description. And he made the deck based on the Primal Command Ewit loop, and then it iterated on from there. One of the first people to start using Trinisphere as an actual card in Modern, because that card was just underused in Modern before it. And the deck really came to life when Khan was released. Khan the Great Creator was released with War of the Spark in I think it was April 2019. That was around the time when I got into playing the deck. And for about a year, while Mycosynth Lattice was legal, the deck was really good, because you could just slam Mycosynth, and then all your problems would go away, because you just straight up win. You can't do that anymore. You can only do that in Legacy. You can't play some form of this at Legacy, I guess. But Instead, we use stuff like Conjurer's Closet to close out, to snowball the game into a position where we can't lose. That is pretty much all there is to this deck. There's a lot of small tech things. You can also there's a lot of tech cards that we used to play, like Plow Wonder, Acidic Slime. In land slots, you can use stuff like Pendelhaven and Radiant Fountain, pretty much any kind of utility land you want. It's usually about 4 utility lands, 16 mana sources that are green. You can also play fetch lands because they attack the E-Wood at the cost of life loss. There's a bunch of stuff you can do and a bunch of variations you can do. But this is a very stock, as it says in the title of the deck, it's a very stock list, and we're going to be playing through a modern league with this deck to show how it works. And yeah, it's just it's going to be fun. So we're going to join a modern league and see how it goes. So we have this deck selected, join the league, and we will play some matches with this deck and see how it goes. It's going to be hopefully a lot of fun. I have no idea. I always just hope to go like 2-3 or 3-2, but we'll see how well we can do. The modern meta is a lot of burn. Burn is pretty okay against this deck, so we'll hopefully not run into that. Playing against Krabby Rock. This hand is unkeepable because of the fact there is no land. In this kind of deck, you can be super ballsy and just keep it and hope for a land off the top because it's so good hand, but you shouldn't do that if you're sensible. So we're gonna mulligan. This hand is absolutely amazing. We have Arbor of Utopia's Sprawl, which generates 4 mana on turn 2. We have a Visionary and we have 2 Acid Moss. I'm gonna drop an Acid Moss here because that's the most expensive card. Use F6 a lot with this deck. Oh yeah, it's Burn or Prowess or something like that. That is to be expected. But we'll see how we can survive against this deck. Ancient Stirrings on top. Well, we're gonna... In this case, I might choose to not play Arbor Elf because that can be bolded. And then we'll have no play on turn 2. So I might just play Utopia's Sprawl instead to ensure that we can play Visionary on turn 2. But I'm not quite sure. I think I'll do that. Utopia's Sprawl always picks green. Because first of all, we don't have a splash. And second of all, you actually generally like all our cards usually have heavy green mana costs, so we prefer to have a lot of green mana. Oh, another Goblin Guide. I think we're probably gonna lose this first game. That's but post sideboard we have a bunch of good cards. Let's see if there's anything cool on top. Have a Visionary on top. We're gonna play the Visionary. Hopefully that can kill my Goblin Guide. If it can't, that's how things are. Hornet Queen doesn't actually do anything right now. Probably gonna bolt the Visionary, I assume. They're not gonna bolt the Visionary. Okay, that's good for us. Well, if they attack, we'll block with a Goblin Guide, no doubt. Not block with a Goblin Guide. We'll block a Goblin Guide with a land of our Visionary. I have a Steering Blaze. That's really bad for us. So we're probably gonna go down here in a few turns. A Primal Command is probably what we need. A land and a Primal Command. A Blast Zone. Pretty sure I just have to crack the Blast Zone. Just hold up Blast Zone, crack it, because otherwise we're gonna die. And they can just spoil other things. Blast Zone is really good draw. This is a situation where Blast Zone is. We're gonna kill our Utopia Sprawl, but I think it's worth it because otherwise we will just straight up lose. We'll probably have enough burners to kill us anyway, but we need to kill him to kill the Goblin Guides here. We don't have a choice, I think. We could alternatively play a Land of our Visionary and a Dog, but then those things will just get bolted and then it'll swing through and we'll just lose anyway. We're gonna wait with triggering the Blast Zone until they attack to see if we draw more lands, because why wouldn't we? It's free roll. An eyeball, okay. Now we're gonna have 6 through this. We're with an Arbor Elf on top, there's not much we can do. Oh, they went to end step. Interesting. Well, we'll play an Arbor Elf into an. We'll probably cast Ancient Stirrings. Yeah, we're just dead. We can't do anything. Burn is a tough matchup. Post sideboard. We'll bring in a Kitchen Things. We'll bring in Obstinate Bailout. Probably bring in Scooge. We'll cut some acid. Cut 2 acid moss, I think. Trinisphere is just really good, so I'll probably not cut that. Question is if I'm bringing in Scooge. I think Scooge is still better than an acid moss. It's a good question. It's just a blocker. That's really the big thing here. I cut a dork for it, so because that's gonna be bold anyway. I don't think there was much we could do that game. But we'll see how the next one goes. You usually don't want to take out too many engine pieces. Also, I basically never side out Hornet Queen or Kogla, because when you get them down, you win. So, if you get to that position, but there could be an argument to take it out. But I think I'm gonna keep this because Khan can get in the snaring bridge. And we have 2 Ancient Stirrings to look for lands. And a Utopia's Ball can be bold like there's not a, I would mulliganing this is a very bold move. Like this has guaranteed gas and guaranteed action. We're guaranteed to run a land. We have 2 Ancient Stirrings next turn. Or we can just draw a land and play Visionary. Of course, we just hope they have a bad start, but we're probably gonna play a Goblin Guide or a Swift Spear. Yeah, there's a Goblin Guide. We'll hope there's a land on top. We'll see. There's a Primal Command on top. We'll cast Ancient Stirrings then. Take the Forest, even though we could take a count, but we don't want a count here. Play the Forest. Cast another Ancient Stirrings. Take a land. Pass the turn. We do have the Primal Command coming. Next turn we can cast Khan and grab something. Probably like a Ballista, I guess, because I can shoot down the Goblin Guide. But we also have Primal Command that can gain us life and find like a Sphinx. We're gonna take a lot of damage. Burn is in general. Oh, and no. Interesting. No bolt. Might be a light up the stage then. Drawing a land here is really nice. He's just drawing 3 cards. We'd rather draw action. No light up the stage either. Interesting. We also might play Visionary. We'll take a look at the sideboard real quick. So what could we get? We can't actually play anything immediately. We can get a Wormcoil Engine. Actually, that's a good point. We could get a Wormcoil Engine. So we play Khan, get Wormcoil. Next turn, okay, so then they hit us for probably like 5 or 7 or something like that. The next turn with Primal Command, gain back 7, put either land on top or search for a creature. Probably we can search for things, and then we can play next turn we can play things. Or we can play Wormcoil if we draw lands. I think playing Wormcoil is GG. If we get it down, the game is over, right? And this turn, other choice is to play a Visionary, just as blocker. I think I'm gonna go with the Wormcoil Engine line. See how it works out. I'm trying to try some things. I'm like, this matchup is horrible anyway, so might as well do what I can. They might actually waste burn on Khan too, because Khan is a threat. Can very much be a threat. We can't get Ensnaring Bridge because we can't get a dump or hand fast enough. Anyway, so that's card's useless. We'll see what they play here. might just be dead. Lightning Helix me, yeah. I assume they wouldn't kill Khan, or at least go for Khan. Otherwise, maybe if they bolt me again and then swing at the Khan. I assume they're not gonna bolt the Khan, because it's not a threat to them right now, only later. Oh, they are killing the Khan. That's really good for us. That's actually really, really good for us, because that's 3 damage not going on my face. So that's the best thing we could hope for. Next turn, Primal Command, gain life. Do we draw a land here? We do draw a land. Oh, a Blast Zone. That's actually, that's interesting. That's actually really interesting. We're playing the Blast Zone, definitely. The question is if we want to activate it. But if we activate it, we're going down to 3 mana, 4 mana next turn. That doesn't do anything. So I think I'd rather cast Primal Command, guarantee that we probably stay alive. With this hand, I might just put something on top so that they don't draw more gas. Because, sure, we get the things. We're not playing it for next turn. Next turn we're playing Wormcoil. And the turn after that, we could play Horny Queen. That's probably a better choice, right? So target player gains 7 life. Target player, and then we're going to put the Sacred Foundry on top. And then we just hope we don't die this turn. I don't think we do. Next turn we have Wormcoil to deploy, which is... I don't know how Burn deals with a Wormcoil. I actually don't know. They might have some Smash the Smithereens stuff. But they also might not. They didn't play the Sacred Foundry, which means one of the cards in their hand is a Sacred Foundry. And they might just activate Sunburned Canyon. Do we draw a land here? This Goblin guy destroying a lot of cards. Yeah, just cracking the Sunburned Canyon. That's really bad. That's really bad for them. That's really good for us. That means that they don't have anything. There's a Kogla on top, which is also pretty decent draw. But we're just gonna play Wormcoil and see if they can beat that. I don't know what they can have that beats Wormcoil. I think, okay, Smash to Smithereens, destroy it, then bolt the Lifelinger. That's like the line I'm thinking. And even if they Rift Bolt the engine, try to swing through it, I'm 100% still just gonna block and gain 6 life. Unless they have a double bolt, so they bolted now with Rift Bolt and then bolted again. But that's... yeah, that might be what they're doing. But then I still have the free lifelink, and I can probably E with it later. If they bolt it again, that's still 6 damage. Oh, never mind, there's a Searing Blaze. Oh, never mind. They forgot to play a land, and they have a land, so they just forgot to play the land, so they didn't trigger landfall, which is probably GG for them. We're 100% gonna block you, no doubt. We'll play a land. Casting Utopia Sprawl is a 3 action. We're gonna string food with the lifelink, right? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah. So we're gonna swing through with the lifelink to guarantee that we gain back some life. Yeah, they conceded. Okay, this is why I didn't expect them to be able to beat this. And even if they had probably sequenced their Searing Blaze, they would have killed it, and then it would have blocked. They would have attacked, and I would just block with the Death Touch and swing back with a lifelink, right? So I don't think there's anything else we want to do here. Fetching Wormcoil with Khan is still the better choice than just... yeah, and just siding it in. I think siding it in is a bad idea, so we're going to run it back. We'll see how... we'll go on the next one and see if we can defend ourselves fast enough. Turbo Sprawl is this is where one of the points where I would love to have the card Wild Growth, because Wild Growth means that we have another non-boldable dork, which would be amazing. But Wild Growth is also really powerful together with Arbor. And I know from Pauper, where all three things are legal, that is extremely powerful and can get you to 4 mana extremely consistently. So I'm not sure they'll print it in Modern Horizons or anything like that. And they're not gonna print it in Standard. It's way too good for Standard. But I'm not sure if they'll print it in something like Modern Horizons. We're hoping, but every now and then this deck gets a new toy. Like Turn Simba was a nice addition. Land of Visionary was a really good addition to the deck because it just smooths out, ramps, and draws a card. It basically replaced the earlier you used to run 3 Nissa Vasput Seer because it drew a card, right? But now you just have Visionary, which is straight up draws a card and taps for mana, so that's usually better. You can run 4 Visionaries, no Nissas, but I prefer it like this. And then of course Kogla, which means we don't have to run stuff like Stampeding Zeros or Stampeding Wildebeest or whatever those cards are called. This is just a straight up better card than a 4 mana 5/4. This is just a really good card in general. You'd run this without the, even if it didn't have the Return Human mode, it'd still be a decent card, right? Then it'd just be a good tech card. But now it's just really good card. The opponent is tanking on their sideboard decisions. They might be confusing. Maybe they're bringing in something like Smash to Smithereens. But the thing about Smash to Smithereens is it can also just be a dead card, which means if we don't play an artifact, they just have a burn card that they cannot use, which is also like decent enough. But we'll see. Hopefully we can clutch this one out. The dream is of course to get a 5/0 with the deck, but getting a 5/0 with this deck is, I wouldn't say it's unrealistic, but on the first try, and I'm gonna do some more leagues, maybe stream them, but like doing this on first try, it's kind of unrealistic, I think. See, okay, I think I'm gonna keep this hand because we have lands, we have dogs, we have Visionary. I think mulliganing it is really risky. If we can just, usually the thing is you can just end up with a hand that's like Trinisphere can't Primal Command and it's just way too slow, and you just die anyway. In this one you at least have some agency. Is it the Goblin Guide again? Of course it is. Burn always has Goblin Guides on turn 1. That's like a rule when you play Burn, right? You just get to start. It's like a companion. Utopia Sprawl. We're gonna play Arbor Elf here because we have another Arbor Elf, and if we get the 4 mana off, it's really good. Otherwise, it's also just wasting a burn spell on Arbor Elf, which is not bad either, and it just gain 3 life. Scalding Tarn and Burn. Haven't seen that one before. Probably because they also play Prowess. Let's see what they deploy here. They might have Eidolon. Eidolon would be extremely good against us. It's just Swift Spear and a Bolt, I think. Maybe Lava Spike. Yeah, it's a Bolt. I presume this would happen, but we can still both play Arbor Elf and Utopia Sprawl on next turn. And we have Ewits. Ewits are actually really good blockers because you get value out of them and you can just chump with them. Ancient Stirrings. Cool. We can actually play that because Utopia Sprawl doesn't go down in mana. Gonna take a Crawling Barrens that could possibly block later. Just play an Arbor Elf here and pass turn. Next turn we're guaranteed to have 3 mana. We might even have 6. We're guaranteed to have 4 mana. We might even have 6 if they don't kill the Arbor Elf. So we're gonna see what they have in their hand. Just bolt it again. We'll take some damage, which is of course annoying. And Eidolon, oof, that's bad. But nothing else. So we are gonna have 6 mana. Arbor Elf on top. Okay. So we're gonna play Visionary. We are gonna take some damage, but we can't really play around that. If we don't play any cards, we'll automatically lose. We want to find something that gains us life. That's something that gains us life. We'll also play the Ewit because it's a blocker. And we'll probably get back. Do we get back to Stirrings or Elf? Get back to Stirrings because we have another Ewit and another Elf. Then we'll pass turn. Next turn we have a Primal Command. We might just be dead. That's life. But hopefully we're not. We have two power blockers, so that's as ideal as it is. We might have, if they have Searing Blaze, we're just dead. A Bolt the Visionary, swing through, that's 4 damage. Another Bolt would kill us, so Bolt is also lethal, I think. Borrowers charm us, okay, so another Bolt just wins the game. But if they can't win, we're in a good spot. We might just be dead. If they have a Bolt, we're dead, but I can't do anything about that. They have a Path, which means we're also dead. Yes. Because now we can only block 3 power out of power. Yeah, just that. A Bailoff on top. That would have been nice. But that's how it goes. Just gonna write the league results down. One, 2 versus Burn. And we'll start another one. Burn is a tough matchup, but also knew we were gonna face Burn because it's a big part of the meta right now. So that's how it is. The online meta is different from the local meta, and usually in the local meta there's a lot more variation, and you just won't face 3 Burn players. You usually face 1 during the time you play, but online is usually skewed towards the current best deck. I'd assume it'd be easy to find an opponent during this time, but maybe not. Playing in the evening probably helps. There we go. Okay, playing first against Affinity for Winning. That's a nice name. We'll play first. This hand doesn't work. It doesn't have a land. This hand is a. This is one of the things where you're like, can we keep this? Because it has no accelerant. It has 2 lands, but it has Trinisphere, Visionary, and Karn. So when we won't do anything until turn 3, but on turn 3 we will do a lot. So the problem here is we don't know what we're playing against. If we're playing against something we knew was slow, we can maybe keep it, but I still don't think this is a keep when we can still go to 5. This is still a much better hand. Okay, so we have 2 lands. I don't know what to drop here is interesting, because if they're control deck or anything that has removal for Karn, we'd like to have multiple copies of Karn, but multiple copies of Karn doesn't actually do anything right now. Acid Moss is a bit far away. I think we keep the 2 lands, we keep the Arbor Elf, we keep a Khan. Question is, what of this do we drop? Do we drop the Stirrings? Stirrings we can play immediately on turn 2, but doesn't do anything necessarily. It guarantees a land for Khan, which is an incentive to keep it over some of the other things, which these cards will definitely drop in the second Khan. Question is if we drop the Acid Moss or the Stirrings. I think we drop the Acid Moss, because I'd rather guarantee that we can play Khan on curve than risk sitting in my hand with no way to do it. So we drew a land anyway, but now we could find another Khan. We could find a Trinisphere with Ancient Stirrings. Spirebluff Canal, that's almost always Storm, or it's like Jeskai Control. Blast Zone is just not good against any of those. We'll just grab Trinisphere because we have the another land. We won't attack here, I think, because I don't know, they might have Spectral Sailor. I just don't want to risk it, or whatever. What the fuck is this card? Cyber Wind Call. Oh, they're a Living End deck, so they're the I assume, because usually you only play cycling creatures in the Living End deck because you cycle them for 1, bring them back, and that's usually pretty good, right? So against this deck, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna play Trinisphere now, because if they play, let's say, the enchantment allows them to cast things without paying the mana cost, the one that starts at 0, they'll just cast something, right? And Trinisphere guarantees that they cannot cast whatever it is. Main deck Spell Pierce. Well, I guess our Khan ain't getting Spell Pierce now, at least, right? I will attack in here. Now I know that they won't have anything. They might cycle another creature here. Yeah, another Windcaller Aven. I did not expect main deck Spell Pierce, but I guess it's my fault. Here we're definitely playing Khan. Just try to slam it, see what happens. Especially since we have 2, we don't want to delay it another turn. Let's have another spell. Oh, that's a Strike the Rewinder. It's definitely the another Windcaller. If it resolves, I honestly think I'm gonna get Tormod's Crypt to guarantee that the next Living End doesn't do anything. Because Living Ending here would just end us. And now they have to refill their yard, which will allow us time to deploy something like Ensnaring Bridge. This is why you run Tormod's Crypt. Stuff like this. What could we get now? That would be nice. We could just get Coding. We could just get Ensnaring Bridge. I'm definitely minusing him. Especially since we have another Khan. I think I might grab Coding, because if they remove Khan, then we still have another Khan to synergize with the Coding. If they counter Coding, then sure, whatever, you counter the Coding, right? We can get that back later. It's not necessary, it's just nice to have. We can also grab Bridge, but I don't want to deploy that yet. Play Damping Sphere. That's actually okay. Damping Sphere is also an interesting choice, right? Because that's usually gonna mess up a bit of the cascade, but I don't think it will mess them up enough. So we're just gonna grab a Coding, and I'm just gonna play a Coding, see what happens. Cryptic Command. Counter draw, sure, whatever. Hit with Elf. Pass the turn. There's an argument right there for playing the Visionary first in order to draw a land and then play the Coding, but they have a Cryptic Command. They're just going to counter the Visionary anyway. In hindsight, of course, but I'd rather try to bait them with the Coding What's in second main? Interesting. Cycle again. They might be able to get the thing off this turn. No. In this case, we'll play Visionary. Hopefully it resolves. Hopefully we draw land. Did not. Well, uptick, there's no targets. We'll pass the turn swinging with our both. Next turn, if they, they can do the thingy at instant speed, I think. They have that 2 mana sorcery where they could cast the living end at instant speed. They can't do that now, but they could do that. But in this case, we're guaranteed to be able to fetch Snaring Bridge at least. Not doing anything. Interesting. We'll draw a land, that's nice. We only have 6 mana, so we can't double spell anything. Grab bridge, they counter bridge. Then we're in a rough spot, right? But if they and Graphic Cage doesn't work because they don't enter the graveyard, right? They just living and exiles all creatures from graveyards, destroys all creatures, then puts them from exile into play, not from the graveyard. So that doesn't actually do anything. I think I'm fetching bridge. I might actually just cast Primal Command first to beta count another counter spell. Search for Ewid. I think I'm gonna do that. If they have a counter spell, they're probably gonna counter this. But I don't think we can get this one because they're also gonna put enough power into play for us to die. I think. Yeah. Spell Pierce, we're gonna use Khan. Get bridge. Pass the turn. We're not gonna attack in case they actually flash out their stuff. They didn't. They actually did nothing, which is interesting. Still doing nothing. They might just not have it. It seems like they just don't have it. Okay. We could double spell, cast Trinisphere here, but if they have Spell Pierce, we'd rather start with Ensnaring Bridge. I don't know if we can Pithing Needle anything. I really want one Ensnaring Bridge to resolve. I'm gonna attempt to cast Khan, because they might counter this. Which would be ideal, I think. Remand. Ugh. Not gonna attack with anything here in case they Living End or whatever. Yeah, it seems like they have it. No, wait, no, that's not it. Oh, they have it. It's just chose to cast it for 1 instead of 0. Is that lethal? 12, 13. Yeah, it's lethal. What do we do against this deck? Don't think we do anything. We can just keep it as is. Oh, wait, of course we should put in Veil. Take out the Asset Mosses. I think that's a good idea. Still think the creature's gonna, oh, of course Scoos is gonna be good. Take out a Trinisphere. This goose can eat the things from the graveyard. We could also just keep Tormod's Crypt up, I guess. That's another option. This hand is interesting. Doesn't really do anything, but it's also not bad. Cast Stirrings, get either a land or a Karn. Next turn we do nothing. Next turn we do something. I'm gonna mulligan it. I don't like it. Ugh, this is close to a keep, but it's not. We're gonna have to keep this. This is bad. These are bad hands. Gonna play this. We do have schools. We're gonna be able to deploy the schools hopefully before they can interact. Question is, I think here we play. I think we play Arbor Elf into Stirrings. Now the question is, do we take the Karn? I think we do. I don't know if they have bolts. They might have. They might also just have an early living end next, like just next turn, and we might not be able to beat that. I didn't expect. I haven't teched against this deck. I didn't expect to face this deck at all. So I'm gonna play Scoos. If they have living end, they're gonna cast it now. I'm gonna pass turn. I wanna eat this stuff. Ah, they have it. God, I'm stupid. I shouldn't have done that. What I should have done is just not use Arbor Elf until they cast Living End, because Arbor Elf uses priority. So this is just stupid. I'm gonna lose because of this, but now I guess I can play the other Arbor Elf now. But this is bad sequencing. I'm not used to playing against this deck, but it's not an excuse for playing poorly. Gonna no blocks here. I have to play the Visionary here to draw land. Should have probably just kept the first hand I had, but again that was slow and didn't do anything at all. Next turn we're hopefully going to be able to play Karn, but they might just have counter magic up, so we're gonna get out tempo here. Even if we do, yeah, this match does suck. Can't do anything about this, I think. We could play Ballista for 3 and then block Street Wave, kill Windcall Even. I think I'm gonna do that. If they have a counterspell, they have a counterspell, we lose, so. I don't think we're winning this anyway, but I'm playing it out. I'm not gonna concede. That's another thing with this deck. You usually don't concede a lot because you have outs. So we block Ballista here. Then we shoot the Windcaller Even. Take no damage. Hopefully we can get down a Karn Bridge next turn, but probably not. We'll see. They probably have a counterspell anyway. Cryptic or something. Gonna concede to a Cryptic. I played this match poorly, so that's where it goes. I'm hopefully gonna do more videos to showcase the deck. In another time, probably some streams. Hopefully the next match is gonna be better. You have to avoid tilting. Tilting is bad, and you do make you make misplays. Just gotta take that how it is. It's not like I haven't played this deck a lot. I played this deck a lot. But it's still hard to do well with. There's also a lot of meta dependence. Playing against Yoshi, no lands. Oh wait, no, we have a turn tempo symbiosis. I think this is key because we're underplayed, so they can't fault seize this one. If we were on the draw, I don't know. We're gonna play the Elvish Mystic over the Arbor Elf. Usually want to play Arbor Elf first in case you go the Jobber's Brawl because turn tempo symbiosis isn't a forest. We want to deploy the Elvish Mystic to guarantee we have mana. Okay, playing against mill or self mill. Hopefully we'll draw forest next turn, otherwise things are gonna be hard. Mill is actually okay. This is one of the things one of the situations where Primal Command is good. Gonna bring out a graveyard here because you can shuffle your graveyard back into your deck. You drew a forest, that's awesome. Do we have any sideboard? Question is, do we have any sideboard tech here? Okay. Also, what options do I have for Eternal Witness now? That's the good question. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. I think E would get something back. Could get a Kokla back. That's pretty good. Primal Command is probably better. So I'll probably just cast E would get Primal Command. They might have Surgical Extraction, but that's how it is. We'll attack all because we might have to pressure them this game. Next turn we can shuffle back in, hopefully. If they don't do anything, then that's still fine for us, I guess. Fraying Sanity. Okay. So we mill X, where X is the number of cards we've milled. So this turn we can put this on top, shuffle back in. That seems good. It's interesting playing this. I love this card. It's interesting they're playing this. If we put this on top, what we do is we're setting them back a turn. So Arbor Elf is a bit annoying to use on Moto, but it's whatever. So we say we have an Ewit, so we don't need to search up an Ewit, I think. Put target non-creature on top of its owner's library, target player. So target non-creature, this one, then we shuffle. Now we undone a lot of the mill, and we're in a really good position. This is like this deck is it has 3 lives, so there's no reason to attack. This deck can do really well against the mill because of the fact that we have Primal Command to just extend the time we live by so much. They play Fraying Sanity again. Do they deploy land? They do deploy land, but they're not holding anything up. So Email are not 3. What do we have? Any sideboard stuff? Not really. This is a triggered ability, not an activated ability. We can't perfect needle it. We could just play Ewit, get back Primal Command, deploy an Arbor Oath, feel good. I think it's better than playing Acid Moss. I think I want to guarantee that we can get this Ewit down. And we'll attack here, get a point of damage in. Now, next turn we can shuffle again if we want to. We can also try to skip out on the turn of shuffling. Heavily depends on what they do. If they mill us for, if they play something like Glimpse and mill us for like 10 plus another 20, or if they use Archive here, if they feel the Ruin as an Archive, then we'll probably use Primal Command as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Probably Bang Ballista and killing Rune Crab, I think. Yeah, I have mana up, so they might be holding up a counter spell. Okay, so if they archive us, that's 13. Plus Fraying Sanity, that's 26 already. Plus Ruin Crab, that's 3, so that's 16, that's 32. So if they archive plus a land drop, we're pretty much dead. Right? So if they can do that this turn. They can do that this turn. But they can't do it if they counter this, right? So I'm gonna play the Wong Ballista, try to kill the Ruin Crab. I'm gonna wait till end of turn to do it to see if they activate Feel the Ruin. Might just have a counter spell, but can't do anything about that. Gotta do that. I am gonna find a land. I can't afford to not find a land, I think. I'll see if they cast an Archive. Now I'll think I'll kill the Ruin Crab. Didn't play Archive. And they also don't have Lurrus as companion. I guess that's because they have Fraying Sanity. And next turn we'll play Primal Command guaranteed. As long as they don't kill us, of course. They might. Who knows? We had a lot of board pressure. We have a bunch of things on board. We might have Crypt Incursion. We also might have nothing, I guess. They conceded. That probably means they don't have anything, and we have a Primal Command and they can't counter it. So we'll bring in Veil of Summer against counter spells and stuff. Might bring in Scoos, but I'm not sure. Kind of cast Acid Moss. Trinisphere is fine, I think. I don't think we want Scoos. We're not gonna eat our own graveyard, that's for sure. We might eat theirs, but I don't know if they have any graveyard synergy. We don't have Lurrus, so I don't really have any graveyard synergy. We're just gonna try some Veils. And hopefully they can do some work. So run the draw. Hopefully we get a good starting hand. It's a perfectly fine starting hand. We have lands, Trinisphere, we have a, this is probably a really good starting hand. We have a Mystic, Trinisphere, we have a Khan, works on curve. They have a Stirrings in case they push this one. Of course they have a hit on crap on someone, but may also not be running push, but I think they're running push. It'd be weird not to. gonna get milled here. Let's see what we draw. It's probably gonna try and draw anything. In that case, I'm just gonna play Trinisphere to try and slow them down as much as I can. Next turn is probably play Khan, grab Ballista. He might also just be dead. We need Primal Commander Ewit, I think. Play Ancestral Recall. Yeah, get Ballista. Try to kill the Hitron Crab the next turn. Try to slow down a bit. But we really need an Ewit or Primal Command. Kind of hinging on drawing those things, so. How many do I have? One Ewit. Primal. We have one Primal, one Ewit left. What am I gonna cast now? Crypt Incursion? That's annoying. Can't do anything about it. Play Blast Zone. Just gonna play Ballista, kill the crap. What can we grab here that even does anything? Might just grab Wormcoil, that's the fastest clock that we have. Honestly. Yeah. I think we have to. Just to try and raise them. Because we don't have Primal Command anymore. They have a bunch of cards, but this is a really good reason to not play your Blast Zone, is because they have Field of Ruin. Just gonna try to cast the Wormcoil, it's probably gonna be countered, but this is a very good reason to not play your thingies. We have to do that post-combat. Yeah, we're probably dead. We're dead. Nothing we can do about that. In that case, now we might bring back Acid Moss. No, I think we'll run it back. Just hope we have probably keep a hand with Primal Command in order to ensure that we can use it. This is slow. Doesn't do anything. This is good, but it has no land, so we can't keep it. This is as good as we're gonna get it, I think. This is just some bad mulligans. Khan doesn't do much. Tunisia is decent. I think we're just gonna grab Tunisia. I was kind of searching for a land though, so probably prefer the land. And if they have the crab, we're in trouble anyway. See, this is just annoying. If they have Glimpse the Unthinkable, we might just Valen's response. This isn't targeted. Shit, that's bad. We didn't get the start that we needed to with this. I think we just need to get down a missionary, draw a card, ramp a bit, hopefully draw a primal command on Ewed. I don't think we're winning this. Yeah, we're not winning this. I'm just gonna concede. No point in playing this. I'm not winning this. That's a band run. Usually you can edge it out against mill, but that's how it goes. Hopefully we can get some wins here later. Playing against Lenneth with the Elishnon pick as well. So we can't keep this. It has no 1-drop. This is also bad, no 1-drop. This is better. We're just gonna skip on a Kokla and probably a Khan. Because we have a primal. I mulligan a lot with this deck because I think it's important to have the acceleration, and the slow matches feel really bad. We're on the draw, so we have a lot of options to draw lands, but it's also very risky. So it's up to personal preference, of course. Shocked Overgrown Tomb into Birds of Paradise. This is interesting. I'm not sure what we're playing against. I'm actually not sure. But we're also in the what 03 bracket, so it could be anything. This is where the brews come out. Which is like appropriate for our deck. I wouldn't consider our deck brew. It's been well established for quite some time, but it's also really hard to win with. Or you need some mastery of the meta. Serum Visions. Like, if you know what the meta is gonna be, I haven't played a lot of modern Moto, but if you know what the meta is, you can like cater your sideboard to be more against that. If you know you're gonna face a lot of burn, getting pushed here is not unexpected. If they're playing black, they're probably playing push. They deployed another mana dog. See what they do. White. Stormcaller. Stormcaller into Neo form. What? I have no idea what's going on my opponent's side of the field, but I'm losing to it. Gonna get a 3-drop and a 3-drop. That's bad. So it's kind of some kind of Sultai toolbox deck. Quite interesting. Oh, Eternal Witness into. Oh, that's really good. Ooh. If we don't draw land here, we might be conceding. I shouldn't be conceding, but it's hard to beat that draw. Okay, I'm gonna concede in case they think we're elves. And I'm gonna take out a dog or two. Scoos maybe. Probably some Veils. I think Veils are gonna be good. Take an Acid Moss. To take out 2 dorks. Question. Take out another Acid Moss. Because they have a bunch of mana dorks. Which we can't really easily kill. It's a good hand. There's an argument for not playing Elf on turn 1 and instead holding up Veil and next turn, but we're kind of like delaying our entire gameplay of that. They can only either play a Thoughtseize or a push, right? Can't do both. And if we don't deploy the Elf, then they can only Thoughtseize. We can only protect ourselves from Thoughtseize. I'd rather just get down the Elf. But then again, if we do get put down the Elf, okay, we're not punished. We play the Visionary on turn 2. We still don't have Veil up. So it's quite interesting what the what you want to do. But if we play, we play the Elf because they're not gonna Thoughtseize us. I think either they're gonna play a dog or they're gonna push our dog. Immolate get to 6. It did Thoughtseize us. We should look at that. I'm probably gonna take the Veil, I think. I might take the E-Wood actually. Yeah. But in this case, I'm still gonna play Visionary. Can't imagine they want to Thoughtseize this hand again. Or we're just deploying threats, or like threats with like ramp. So now we have Veil up, right? Turns, which hopefully allows us to find a card. Yeah, see, this is exactly why you play it, because you can now find a card, and now we have a Veil up against the Thoughtseize, we have a Veil up against the counter spell. So I don't know what they're doing. Might abrupt decay something? Abrupt decaying the Utopia Sprawl. Okay. I guess I could have veiled that, but I don't think I want to veil that. I'd rather protect my Khan, right? Because I'm gonna have the mana to cast them no matter what, unless they wipe my board. But I don't know if they're gonna. They don't have Dead of Winter because they're not playing Snow. And I don't know what else they could. They could play. Okay, they could play a Plague Engineer, kill the Arbor Elf, and I still have 6 mana to play Can't Veil and have a blocker. And I'm also on a. I still don't know exactly what I'm playing against, so that's also a thing to consider. Like I'm playing some kind of mid-rangey stuff. Playing Seagate Stormcaller, but they don't have mana for Neo form, right? So what are they gonna play? Thoughtseize? That's bad, right? That's just really bad. Fatal Push. Okay. In this case, I'm definitely gonna. Okay, so yeah, I'm just gonna Veil now. I don't know if they have like Force Negation, maybe, but it doesn't seem like it. But these are gonna fizzle, and now I can deploy Khan. Ooh, Utopia Sprawl, actually, nice draw. Question is what we get here. I have 4 mana immediately. I think I'm just gonna get a Coding and try to let him down mana. Next turn, maybe we get like Conjurer's Closet. This is what the decks want to do, right? Get a bunch of mana, limit the opponent's mana. I think we're just gonna cut him off green. In case they have something special. Because they're gonna have blue-black accessible, but now they have to have a green source to do their green stuff. And they concede. Okay, cool. So think it's good like this, and we'll just run it back. An argument for something like Obstinate Bailoff, because it gains life, it can block things. And it can, of course, it has the discard clause, but I still don't not. But I'm not sure if it's really that good. Might still be better than the Screws, I guess. But I'd rather have the Screws, I think, because they also have E-Wits shenanigans. And that's a lot of value if you don't fight that. We know that from our deck. It might have sideboarded incorrectly, which now they might sideboard differently. And now they're on the play, so we might not win this, but hopefully we do. Be nice to get some wins. I'll have to look up the deck afterwards and see what it is, because it looks interesting. It looks quite fun. Like Sultai in Modern is always spicy because Sultai isn't actually played in Modern. Like it's not traditionally been something you play in Modern. Usually you guys usually want to play like Blue White of Bat for control or Jeskai for control. and value like rock doesn't really have a reason to play blue. It gets way too reactive. So anything that's that vein is cool. This is definitely a keep, I think. Can't mulligan this at least. That's another point. I don't know if we can keep it, but we can't mulligan it. They might Thought Seizers. They don't because they're playing a Breeding Pool, so they're playing a Dork on turn 1 instead. Which we will follow up with. Hopefully they don't have a push, because if they don't, we can play Visionary next turn. Have a Cult Inquisition, which might take the Visionary instead. I guess that's still better. Still better for us than a push. Stearns can find us some gas maybe. Kokela's nice. Khan will take that. Thank you very much. And we'll pass the turn, no attacks in case they have like Quaddle or some weird stuff. I have no I don't think there's a reason to risk it. We're not racing it. We're trying to stack them out in this case. We have a lot of gas, so even if they Thought Seize and take Khan, we still have Acid Moss to ramp into Kokela, which then like that's a big threat. They can't push that. That's another reason push is not always great. Is because if you're playing a controller style deck, you want to be able to path something like Kokela, right? But that's more the odd one out. They might have Stormcaller Neoform again. Having Eternal Witness. Presumably for Inquisition. If they play Inquisition, they're going to be sorely disappointed. This is one of the most Inquisition-proof decks because we're playing such a high curve, or relatively high curve. They don't Inquisition. That's probably a good idea. But they're not pushing either, so... Question is here, if we go, do we just go for Khan or we go for Acid Moss? I actually think we would go for Acid Moss. We drew the land, which means we can like ram next, like we kill the blue sauce because they bleed double blue for the thingy, but it doesn't matter because they have a lot of mana anyways. But I want to ramp into Kokela because Kokela is a big threat. And they haven't had anything really that big yet. We just had a bunch of critters. And if they don't kill Arbor Elf yet, I think they would have pushed it now if they had the push. So they have to draw the push or engineer or something, right? Doesn't seem like they have. So now we can deploy the Kokela, kill the Ewit. Not doing it because they're not doing anything with their mana anyways. So there's no reason to try and kill their mana. Might have a counterspell, I guess. Playing counterspell in that deck also seems really weird. Draw another land. We have a Hornet Queen. Question is, do we kill a mana source here or do we kill the Ewit? I think we kill the Ewit, right? Because they have had a bunch of mana. They had 4 mana that didn't do anything with it, so killing them down to mana won't do anything either. Seems like they're just on some bad draws. Can't push the Kokela and they don't have a push anyway. They conceded. Okay. That's a win against some janky stuff. So we do punish janky stuff, right? 2-1 versus Bok. Neoform midrange. I'm just going to type it down as Neoform midrange. That was a really weird match, but interesting. We'll play the last league match now. And even if we don't win all of the games in the league, right? It's still good practice, and you need to practice with this deck a lot, and you need to scout out the meta and stuff like that. So You need experience anyway, right? No reason to get tilted about it. At least I think. I try to avoid getting tilted. It's easier to get tilted online than it is to real life, because real life, like, you can laugh it off with your opponent. It's usually not very serious, but here's like you have tangible value you're playing for. You don't have any. You get mad. Oh, we can play against the Yorion deck. 81 cards, Yorion Spice. Interesting. Can't keep this. But here is like you get annoyed at your opponent, usually more. Ketria Triome will play the elf, I think. Do we? We could play the Utopia's role to guarantee Visionary, to guarantee Acid Moss. Because that deck might actually have a bunch of removal. So I think that's better. Because I don't want to risk getting thrown off curve. Yeah, that Valakut. Okay, so there's some kind of that interesting Valakut deck. Valakut Yorion, meaning bring to light into Dryad and stuff. We could kill the acid. We could kill the Valakut with the Acid Moss at least, right? That's the good part. Oh yeah, I see now. I'm playing a combo deck, right? Okay, we drew a Khan. I might just use Khan now, because then we can get a Saheeli, then we can get a Pithing Needle on Saheeli, right? They might have Force and Negation, but I don't think they have. I don't think their deck can support it. So I'm just gonna play Khan because we can get a Pithing Needle. Naming Saheeli. Right. That's the Planeswalker's name. Yes. So now they can't combo off with Saheeli and Cat until they remove the needle. They might have Cat. They have Omnath. Okay. Sprawl is free. They have Omnath. Can we remove Omnath? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 3 damage in a ballista. Can't really kill it. Think we're just gonna Acid Moss a land, and then we're gonna Coding a land. They're gonna kill Khan then, right? Also with Valakut, there's an incentive to kill Valakut because that's what kills us. But there's no needing like at least 6 lands before Valakut is relevant. And killing the Catcher Triumph might throw off them off. Like might be unable to cast those spells then. So if we get Coding and cast Coding and Acid Moss. Have we played a land? Yes, we have. It's turn 4. Because then the Khan will die, right? We could get Ballista. We can't actually play Ballista, not Ballista, sorry, Wormcoil. That's actually an interesting. They might have Path though. That would be pretty bad. Right? But getting Wormcoil could be an option. You could also just get Wormcoil and then just play Acid Moss instead, and then play Llanowar Elves. You could also get Bridge. Okay, so I'm gonna Acid Moss because I'm Acid Mossing no matter what, and I'm gonna Acid Moss Valakut, right? Yeah, I'm gonna Acid Moss Valakut. play Llanowar Elves, down to Khan. I might just grab a Wormcoil Engine, because you can raise them. They need to remove this before they can even combo with the cat, and if they combo with the cat, we're still dead, right? Can I get a Wormcoil? I usually don't play with Wormcoil. I don't have a Wormcoil RO, so I don't play with it RO, but I might want to get one because it feels like it's really good. They also have a bunch of mana this turn, which is really bad for us. Fairy is bad. I didn't think about Fairy. They might have cat. Yeah. Don't think there was anything we could do about that. It's one of the cases where I think we just run it back. I think know if the Veil is good enough. I don't think Veil does anything against that deck. I mean, it does. I don't think it does enough. It's just gonna be a dead card sometime, I think. And that game was looking good, but I didn't think about the Teferi bounce, so that was on my end. I don't know how could I play around that. But I could get a coding and then not use it, so that when they play Teferi and bounce, I could then coding the Saheeli. But if I coding the Saheeli, it doesn't matter anyway, because if they flicker it, it's a new instance of it, and it won't have the it won't be an artifact. So coding wouldn't have done it. And if I get bridge, I'm still on one card if I get bridge, so they can still attack with the cat because the cat has one attack. Fine hand. Probably took us for white. Search for tomorrow. Okay. Ancient Stirrings is very nice. That means we can find a card, hopefully. But I'm gonna, if they don't play anything, I'm definitely gonna Acid Moss them here. Actually, I'm gonna play Ancient Stirrings, because I have 5 mana. Yeah, we find a card. Acid Moss here is like a lot of tempo. They concede. Okay. I mean, I'll take it, but that's not what I'm expecting. I'll just type down. What are they? They are Yorion Omnath Cat Combo .deck. Because that's a lot of going on in that deck. Wow. Well, I'll take the concede from them, but hopefully we can edge out and win. I'm not keeping this hand, that's for sure. This hand is good. Probably throwing back a land, because we're in the draw, and we have a start. Take a then mulligan. I might have a Ren here. Yeah, Ren and 6 is really bad for us. Take a Khan. Question is if I play the Mystic, right? Because they can just rent it. But if they don't, there's an upside to it, and I don't want to bag it because I want to play on curve. That's a problem. Yeah, they just kill it. Gonna get Epiphany Needle. I can't cast it yet, but I'm gonna get it. For sure. Hopefully I draw a land. If I don't draw a land, I might have a problem. That's another thing you can put in your sideboard, is a Darksteel Citadel. Just so you can fetch it with Khan and ensure a land drop, but I'm not a particularly big fan of that. Oh, Growth Spiral, that means they can cast a miss it, which is probably GG. Okay, they're not. Seems like I don't have a land. Find a Teferi. Rent back a land. Oh, of course they have a land, right? The Helix my Khan. Don't draw a land. So I'm just gonna They have both Teferi and Ren. Just gonna name Ren. 3 Primals in hand. This isn't a bad hand. Like, we're just drawing a bunch of top end that we can't cast yet. If they're gonna play it and miss it, we're probably just gonna lose straight up. We can't. We needed to draw land there. Well, that's how it goes. So we end up going 1 and 4, but that's how it is. Thank you for watching. I will be hopefully be making more videos with this deck, throwing away my play points, because we don't anything from this, right? No, we don't. But it's still a great fun deck to play. I can heavily recommend it, even though Khan is like a gazillion ticks. It's the only thing that is actually expensive in the deck. The rest of the deck is pretty cheap, and you can just rent it. So I'm gonna cut it there. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for hopefully more of these videos. And also, I'll leave my Twitch. I'll leave my Twitch below. I'll leave the deck list for this deck. I'll leave the Discord link for the MTC Discord, and I will see you next time.